This is a tutorial for the Master Skewb. Okay, so the Master Skewb is actually nothing more than a slightly advanced version of a Rex cube based on how it turns and how it is solved. Okay, so when you solve the Master Skewb cube, the first thing you want to look out for is the color scheme. Based on the color scheme, you may end up with what other people call a parity error. So you want to get that right the first time. And unless yours is different, it should be about the same as mine. And the way I remember mine is going counterclockwise. It's going to be blue, red, and yellow. So the first thing to do when solving this is to get all of these edge pieces all matched up. So I'm going to start with the blue, red, and yellow. So I need the blue and red piece. It's right here. Blue, red, and then I need the yellow here, so I'm going to need a red and yellow, which is down here. So now the blue, red, yellow, and the other piece is already here. So I finished the first three, and using these three as a foundation, I'm going to solve for all the other edge pieces. Okay, so I've solved the first two layers of these edge pieces. Now I'm on the last layer. When it comes to this, it should all be oranges on the top, and so far there are no oranges on the top. So to change that, I'm going to start with one side and two sides. I'm just going to go once, and then, so I'm going to bring this one counterclockwise, then the other one clockwise, and undo that. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Now you can see there's two oranges up here, and most likely one of them will be in the correct place. This one is not in the correct place. This one, matching with other blacks, is in the correct place. So now all that's left is these three edge pieces. And this one, it's always going to be on the opposite side of where it has to be. So this one will come over to here. And to solve for that, I'm going to start with the other side now, because I'm going to do replacement. So I'm going to replace this with this piece. So replace, and then reverse. So now all my edge pieces are now solved. And hopefully, as long as you know what the color scheme is, it should now be in the correct place. Okay, the next thing to do for the Master Skewb is to make sure that another parity error can be avoided. And that will be for the corners. So looking at the corners, there's two sets of corners. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 is one set. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 is another set. And I call these sets because they're connected across from each other. So all the corners that are opposite of each other, so one, this opposite of that one, these are opposites. These are opposites. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 corners that are connected, and the other 4 corners are also connected. So what I want to do is make sure that it's one of two cases. Either all of the 4 corners in one set is all in their correct places, or all of them are not in their correct places. So looking at this first set, I see that this yellow, blue, and orange is in the correct spot since it's surrounded by orange, yellow, and blue. Then when I look over to here, this one is not in the correct place. If that's the case, that means the other two automatically have to not be in the correct place either. So it's 1, 2, and 3 that are not in the correct place. And so you just want to make sure that either all 4 of these are in the correct places. So this one should be down here. This one should be over here. So all these have to turn clockwise. Or this one cannot be here. And to solve for this, I'm going to use an algorithm that takes 3 of the corners and turns those clockwise. And you have to do this first, because this algorithm will eventually mess up the next section. So to do that, I want the 3 corners that I'm going to rotate on the top left, in the back right, and then the bottom right. And from there, I'm going to use this side and this side. I'll call this left or L, and this one right or R. That's going to be L inverted, R, L inverted, R, L inverted, and then again, L inverted, R, L inverted, R, L. And what that does is it rotates these 3 clockwise. So now, when you look at it, this piece is still in the correct place, and these 3 are now in their correct places as well. Now look at the other 4. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Looking at these, all 4 of them are not in their correct places. So these, you don't have to change them at all. So now I can proceed on to the next step. The next step would be to solve all of these. So what I mean by that is all of these squares, you want to have the square and the square opposite of it to be equal colors. So for example, these 2 greens are solved because there's one green and opposite of it is another green. This one is not solved because one is orange, one is black. So look for any piece that's not solved first. And, well, for example, I see green here. And see how I can match it up to another green. There will always only be one match because this piece, for example, can never go onto here. This piece will never go onto here. It's a similar idea to the sets of corners. So there's another green here, and how I match this is just simply turn it like this. And because I don't want to mess up these edge pieces, I had to move this one back eventually. So before I move it back, I want to swap it out with another set of 2 squares that's not solved. For example, these 2. And from here, all I have to do is replace 1, 2, 3, and 4. That way, all of these edge pieces are still solved, and now I have another piece where when I turn it, nothing else is messed up, and my greens are now solved. So I'm going to repeat that for all the other ones. So here's a yellow, yellow, and yellow. If I rotate it, they match. I want to swap it with another non-solved piece like this one. And when I move it back, I have more solved, and so on. Okay, so right now, looking at the pieces, I don't see any piece that I can solve like I did before. So, to fix that, I just had to make the opportunity. So for example, there's these 2 blacks, and I know that since they're along the same set of corners, these 2 can match. But one of these has to be on the bottom, so I can, for example, if this was here and if this was down here, I could turn it and match them. So to do that, I'm going to take this whole column and swap it over to here this way. When I do that, I can now match it. So I have to move this over here without messing up any of these edge pieces, so I'm going to swap it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll keep the edges in place. And when I turn this, now the 2 blacks are solved. But now that I look at it, if I look down here, all the pieces I can swap it with were all the ones along this set of corners and columns, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of these are already solved, so I don't want to do it like that. Now if I look at it, only these 2 from this set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, only these 2 pieces are not solved. In that case, I want to have the same colors on the top and the same colors on the bottom. So I want to switch this one. So I'm going to do what I did before and rotate it by swapping. Now the 2 pieces, the 2 columns, the 2 oranges are up here and the 2 blacks are down here. And from here, I'm going to take this piece, that piece, and this piece and rotate them clockwise. So I'm going to keep that on the top, and first I'm going to just take it out to the bottom, like that. And then I'm going to move the next one over, and now insert that one back up here. 1, 2, 3. And then move it over again, and same thing, swap it out. 1, 2, 3, and one more time. Move the next piece over, and 1, 2, 3. Now as you can see, all three of these were swapped in a clockwise rotation. Now from here, if you look carefully, you can see that if I switch this one, if I flip it around and undo it, then the black will be on the top and it will match with the black. This yellow will match again with the yellow, and this orange will match with the orange, which should now be on the bottom. So first I want to take this column and rotate it. To rotate it, I want to use this side and two other sides that are not involved, and I want to take it out to those sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so I don't mess up these edge pieces. And now to put it back in, but I can't put it back in this way because that would be meaningless. I have to put it in through this side. So I take it out one way and put it back in another way. So I'm going to use the green side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I look, I can take these three pieces and rotate them counterclockwise. This orange will match with that orange, this black will match with this black, and this yellow will match with this yellow. So I'm going to take it out. And now, instead of rotating counterclockwise, I'm going to rotate clockwise, since the yellow has to match over here. And put it back in. Move it over again, take it out. Move it over, and put it back in. Now all of the columns for this set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are now all solved. Now to move on to the next set, there's 1, 2, and 3 columns left. So when I look over here, I want to take this piece and I want to flip it around so that one orange is on the top and one orange is on the bottom. So I'm going to move that over to this side so that now the orange is on the top. Swap it out. Now from here, okay, well, all three of them ended up being on the same side, on the same angle. So when I look at it this way, if I turn this one over here, down there, and down here, so all three will move clockwise, then the orange will match with the orange, the red will match with the red, and the yellow will match with the yellow. So I'm going to start with these on the top. I'm going to take this first one out to the bottom, swap it out, move it over, swap it back in, move it over, swap it out, move it over, and swap it back in. Now when I look, all of these columns are now solved. Now, the next thing to do is to solve for the face itself with the columns and these edge pieces. So, the first thing I want to do is to solve any side with one of the columns first, like this. So this red has all the edge pieces in place and one of the columns in place. Now I want to put in the second column in here with the centerpiece. So before I put this one in, I want to attach it to the centerpiece to it. And that's right here. So to attach that, I'm going to use this side. I'm going to swap this column with that column. So I'm going to use orange, yellow, and black faces. And I'm going to swap this. 1, 2, now they match, and undo it. So now all the edge pieces are still in place, and this column is now solved. Now when I put it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, this red face is solved. Aside from the corners, which we will get to later. And I just want to do that for all the other pieces. So I see 2 yellows here, I'll match that in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have to put in the centerpiece over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This yellow column is now solved, and I want to put it in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And repeat that. So now, okay, so now I'll do it for the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in this case, as you can see, the only way to get this centerpiece over to here is to swap this piece out again, but that's not going to help any. So I'm going to move on to a different side. I see I can do this for the blacks over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've created an opening for the black piece. I can put this column in now. Now the black side is solved. So yellow, red, and black are now solved. And now for the blue again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I had to match this center, blue center, with these two blues to create the column. And right now, most of the time I've been using 1, 2, and 3 faces, but if I do that, you can see that these two pieces, which I just solved, will be messed up. So now I'm going to sacrifice one of the other sides and match this blue with these two blues using the yellow side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I want to put this piece in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now I want to put in this. Now these three sides are the only sides left. And I want to make sure at least the centers are in the correct places. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that I look at it, the green, black, red, and blue sides are now solved. And the yellow side and orange side are also solved except for these two. So when this happens, you may have a situation where it's just these two, or when it's these two as well as these two. So make a checkers pattern. In this case, you want to have both of them in the front and the left. From here, I'm going to rotate all three of these clockwise. That'll be taking it out, rotating it, and swapping it back in, rotating it, taking it out, rotating it, and swapping it back in. And from here, I'm going to take this piece, the one on the left, take it out, and put it back in reversed. So I'll use the orange, black, and blue sides. Take it out. And the orange was on top, so now that should go onto the bottom. And put it back in. So that the orange is now on the bottom. That was on the left, so I had to make sure it stays on the left. And from here, I'm going to rotate this clockwise again. So take this column, take it out. Rotate it, swap it back in. Rotate it, take it out. Rotate it, and swap it back in. And now I have to take the front one, take it out, and put it back in. So I'll use the yellow, blue, and red sides. Take it out. And the yellow was on the top, now I want the orange on the top. And put it back in, so now the orange is on the top. So now, if you look at it, if I rotate all three of these clockwise one more time, this orange will match with the oranges, this green will match with the greens, and the yellow will match with the yellows. So take this out, rotate it, swap it in, rotate, take it out, rotate, and swap it in. Now, aside from the corners, all of the faces are now solved. Okay, so the reason why I matched up the corners earlier before I solved for these columns is because the methods I use for these columns will ensure that these corners always stay in the same order. So, first I want to solve each set. So looking at any corner, all the corners of that one set will be solved, or all of them will not be solved. And if I look at this red, blue, and black will go to the corner opposite of it. And if I can switch these two, 1 and 2, these two will be solved. But the algorithm to swap those two will automatically swap the other two in the set as well. So while it swaps these two, it also swaps these two. But if I look, since all of them are not solved, if these two swap, they will also be in the correct place. So now I'm going to use this side as the left, or L, and this side as the right, or R. I'm going to have the set have one of the corners in the front, middle, the left bottom, right bottom, and the front back, or the top back. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 corners of the set. And I want to make sure that the 2 corners that are being swapped are on the bottom, and the other 2 corners that are being swapped are on the top. So these two will swap, and these two will swap. from here, L and R, I'm going to do L inverted, R, L, R inverted, and total of 3 times. So I'm going to repeat that twice. L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted. Now as you can see, all corners are now in their correct places. And I want to do the same for the other set as well. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 corners of this set. And if you look at it, this one will come over here, and it will swap with this piece. Once these two swap, they'll be in the correct place. And once these two swap, they'll be in the correct place. So the 2 corners I'm swapping are on the top, and the other 2 corners I'm swapping are on the bottom. Now this will be L, this will be R. So again, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted. Now all these corners are now in their correct places. Now the next algorithm is a variation of that previous algorithm, and what that does is it takes 2 corners, 2 opposing corners on the bottom, and it rotates those 2. So it'll turn the one on the right clockwise, the one on the left counterclockwise. So make sure that the 2 corners that will be rotating will always be on the bottom left and bottom right. So if I look at this set, all 4 have to be swapped. So if I look here, this one, so for each set, there's only 3 corners that can be switched. So in this case, that means I'm going to have to do the algorithm twice to swap 2 of them and solve 1, and swap both of them. So if I look here, if I take these 2, this one will go clockwise, this one will go counterclockwise, and this corner will now be solved. So I'm going to start with these 2, on the bottom left, bottom right. From here, I'm going to use this as L, use this as R. So first, I'm going to start out with exactly the same algorithm as before. So L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted. Now from here, I want to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to start with L, R inverted, L inverted, R, repeat 2 times, so a total of 3. L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R. And as you noticed, only these 2 corners have rotated and everything else has been left how it was before. Now I'm left with these 2. This one will go clockwise, this one will go counterclockwise. So I want to have this piece on the right, this piece on the bottom left. And I'm going to repeat the algorithm again. So this is L, this is R. So L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, and undo that. L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R. And now all corners of this set are now solved, and I'm left with this set. So again, there's 3 pieces, so if I start here, this piece will go clockwise, this piece will go counterclockwise, and this corner will be solved since it's going counterclockwise. So bottom left, bottom right, and again, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, and undo that. L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R. Now I'm left with these 2. This one will go clockwise, this one will go counterclockwise. So this piece is on the bottom right, this piece is on the bottom left. And one more time. L inverted, R inverted, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, and undo that. L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R, L, R inverted, L inverted, R. And that's how you solve the Master Skewb. Thank you for watching.